tous. Je suis Lionel Billon, je m'occupe des équipes Sales et Business Development pour la data sur l'Europe du Sud chez AWS. Et aujourd'hui, je vais parler d'un sujet clé, notamment en cette période d'accélération sur l'AI, la générative AI, c'est comment mettre en place une stratégie data moderne. And I will switch in English. I forgot that I need to do this in English. So let's do that with how to build a modern data strategy on AWS. So data is for sure a key asset today. It's a core pillar of any successful digital transformation. That's not a surprise that even today, 93.9%, according to this survey, are still willing to increase their investment on data and AI. Still, and that did not change over the last 5 years, only 24% of the organization are successful in becoming data-driven. And when asked, 80% say that the blocker are not technology. The blocker are mainly on the organization and the culture. But what does it mean to be data-driven? Actually, it means infusing data in everything you are doing. For sure to take decisions, but also to reduce costs, for example, optimizing existing process, to inventing new customer experience, or define a new business model. On the technology side, what we see as well is the more advanced organizations are putting insight and data near the application in real time. To be successful, it's, as I said, it's not only technology. Actually, it's a mix between mindset, people, process, and technology all together. What does it mean when we're talking about mindset? It's, for example, instead of being focused on the technical aspect of the thing, let's focus on the business outcome and business needs. Regarding people and process, let's give more autonomy to the field, to the people. And let's have, instead of having a centralized approach, something more federated and agile. And on the technology, instead of being monolithic, let's have something that fits the needs, agile and flexible. So I will describe each and every topic in more detail. Regarding mindset, one thing to keep in mind is first, think big. Think big on what you want to do with data. To do that, make sure that you do align business and IT with the same vision. Most of the time, I see a lot of customers failing because the project is led only with IT or only with the business. That can't work. Alignment between IT and business is key here. In the same way, do not focus on building the platform first. Focus on identifying the first use case and iterate from that. We define something called the data flywheel. Let's say, for example, that you identify one use case, which is, for example, personalization, customer personalization on the website, right? So you define that as a product, data as a product, and you infuse this in the customer experience. You collect data from the feedback from the customer, and you nurture again the process. So it's become a recurring flywheel. Meanwhile, the cloud allows you to experiment and innovate quickly and at low cost. It's particularly important now with the acceleration of innovation with AI, generative AI, to do that fast and to infuse that in the process. Some argue that the flywheel, like this one, may be only beneficial for enterprise starting their journey. It's not. This approach, by the way, is used internally at Amazon, but it's used by any type of organization that are successful. As an example, NatWest, so retail banking, they have an established data platform already, but it was monolithic. Data engineers and data scientists were not working together. So as a result, the data was difficult to find. The machine learning model was difficult to deploy. They use the flywheel, identifying how they would disrupt the retail banking market and what were the key projects they had to deliver on the infrastructure, but most importantly, also on the use cases. And they started with one use cases, with the customer lifetime value, and they iterate to build their data mesh on top of it. But they did not start saying, I will build the architecture and then we will see which use case. They started with one use case. And as a result, you see they have impressive results, like after several flywheel iteration, end-to-end solution from nearly 1 year to less than 3 months. To discover data, initially more than 5 days, less than 1 day after that. And for the machine learning model, as you see, from 3 to 6 months to 2 weeks. And this company, we are not beginning with data, and they use the flywheel as well. I was talking about the culture of innovation, with innovating, experimenting. AI, machine learning are everywhere. Sensing, automating, optimizing, predicting, assisting people in each and every industry, each and every part of your business. Could be customer service, sales channel. I'm thinking, for example, of Zalando doing some personalized experience online. Supply chain, for example, Amazon develop skills regarding supply chain, like demand forecasting, that you can, by the way, leverage directly using some of the services that we are providing out of the box. Manufacturing with, for example, quality inspection, predictive maintenance, legal with intelligent document processing. So a lot of use case that are available, and it's just for you to identify which are the process that can benefit from that, and test, try, and then scale. Another really important stuff to keep in mind, it's to write tenets. What are tenets? That's the guiding principle of your data strategy. Something that you will communicate top down. It's crucial because that will allow your organization to understand how they should work. For example, if you say, I want to give more autonomy to business users, that will change the process you have. Okay? Or if you say, I want to provide choices with the tools they use, then that's also a tenet. My advice then would be maybe restrict to a simple list. And the thing is, it could, I may do a parallel with personal development. People like, and a lot of people reading personal development book, okay? Lot of those books says, take a piece of paper, write down your goals, define the plan and execute. Lot of people are reading the book. How many are really taking the piece of paper or a notepad and writing stuff? That's the same for the data strategy. So write and define your tenets and communicate them. For people and process, how to organize for scale. Another parallel that I will do is with application development. Back in the days, it was monolithic, then client server, then microservices. The same applies for data. We are calling that a modern data community, where you have producers that are the one who want to share data. On the right side, you have the consumers, teams that want to use the data. And in between, the teams in charge of the technology that will be shared by both teams. Okay? So in a decoupled agile approach, where everything is a product. For example, you have the producer, first line order producer, in general, who start with basic product like your customers, vendors, your product. And consumers, initially consumers use the data for the producer of line 1, but then create new product. Imagine that you want to create a recommender for your organization, a product recommendation that become a product. You are using the data from various first order and you define product, and everything is growing like this. And in between, you have the team managing the technology shared by both. In general, providing a data catalog for easy access and search for the data, a way also to share the data easily internally or externally, and then ensuring end-to-end data governance. So strengths at the core and flexibility at the edge. That's you could then use some kind of approach like data meshes. That's not the same approach. One example I have in mind for a data community building is NG. Initially, when they started their journey with data, it was to make sure that the data was shared among various business units, right? So it was to collect the data and share. And remember the flywheel that I was talking about. They started with one use case. First use case was predictive maintenance optimization for windshield. So windshield are very expensive, as you can imagine, and 1% improvement on the maintenance can save millions. So they started with that, and they created the first iteration of the technology based on this use case, and then scale. And today, NG store 1 petabyte of data and have more than 1,000 projects used across the organization. And they are continuing to iterate, like, for example, helping cities like Paris, Dubai, or Madrid, for example, to reduce their energy consumption. Because data is at the core of their carbon transition. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is aligning funding, organization, and governance. For example, if you want to have a decentralized organization and you have a centralized funding approach or funding model or centralized organization, that won't work. Those elements need to be aligned. Technology. So what does it mean to have a modern data platform, for example? That means being able to connect to any data source, whatever this is, to be able to cover each and every need from real-time analytics, data warehousing, big data, log analytics, BI, AI, and machine learning, provide a catalog, provide an end-to-end data governance, and allow to give the flexibility to seamlessly move from one approach to the other. Sometimes you may start to need a lake approach, sometimes you may need a data warehouse. It's not this or that, it could be and for example, that's why we are providing technologies like Redshift and data warehouse that can directly, seamlessly connect to the lake or export to the lake if needed. In the same way, if you want to create a data mesh approach like modern data community that I was talking about, and you want to do that only with SQL skill, then again, you could do that with Redshift, or you could do that with other technology like EMR using open source formats, or using some of the ISV partner we have on the marketplace to do that. You have the choice. And most importantly, how you will break silos inside the data team. For example, between data engineers and data scientists. Most of the time in the organization I'm meeting with customers, they are siloed, while they could really benefit to work with each other. Like someone, like a data scientist is creating a model, it should be seamlessly used by the data engineer to run from the data warehouse, for example. And then again, end-to-end, ensuring end-to-end data governance across the board. That's exactly what we do provide with our analytics services. So I will not cover the technical detail here because that's not the topic, but keep that in mind. I was talking about breaking silos between data engineers and data scientists and creating data MLOps end-to-end. One example that I have in mind is Intuit. So Intuit is a software company, initially traditionally becoming a software as a service company, providing, as you can see, financial accounting and tax software. And what is interesting is that when they started the journey with us, initially, as you can see, only 30% of their time was really building the AI model. The rest was managing the infrastructure. So they started to move that to the cloud. As you see, direct benefit like decrease downtime by 30%, accelerate the speed of delivery, accelerated the app deployment, And they try and they continuously automated the process. And today, as you can see, they have now 50% increase in deployed machine learning model and more than 25k hours of customer time saved, including half of the time of the expert saved. How did they do that? They create an intelligent way to pre-process customer requests automatically with machine learning and guide to the right experts. That gives me to another important concept. Today, with the shift of technologies, with AI, generative AI in particular, we see a way to use innovation and AI as a way to augment skills. We are ranging from a time where a lot of people were doing, I would say, heavy lifting work, complex work, and few people were creating value. While today, you may find a lot of opportunities to automate stuff and provide people to have more value added time to create value instead of maintaining technical stuff. So I encourage you also to think, as I said at the beginning, to think at what are the process that you could automate, for example, with AI, generative AI. A good example of that is that could also, going back to my point on mixing teams between data scientists, data engineers, but also involving business users to the data team. We have a concept within Amazon called the two pizza team. In general, when we are creating a team, we do consider that the team should not be bigger than the number you can eat on two pizzas, roughly. And as you can see, when you do those producer or consumer, you can find teams mixing data engineers, data scientists, business users, business analysts, working all together, augmented with AI and ML. For example, the data engineer could use Amazon Code Whisperer to generate data pipeline code automatically on Python. Then the data scientist could benefit from AutoML. The business analyst could create machine learning model with SageMaker Canvas, and the business users can query the data, not in SQL, but in plain natural language. That's the kind of stuff that is possible today. And each of those could work together. A model that could have been created by a business analyst could be then expanded by the data scientist and taken by the data engineer to run, for example, on the data warehouse. That's totally possible today. Augmenting skills, of course, I could have talked about Amazon. I don't have a lot of time left, but if you have the ability to ask to visit a fulfillment center, and you will see how AI can really augment, for example, associates are guided on where to put product in the right bin, for example. But there is another customer that I wanted to talk about, is Roche. So Roche is a pharmaceutical company, as you know. And what I like in that example is, so they are creating a high resolution view of a patient, in terms of better disease identification, new drug development, being able to collect a kind of 360 view of medical healthcare device elements, imaging, electronic health, recording, everything, okay? And what they decided to do is to augment and simplify the data producer job. Like, for example, they directly in their process created some machine learning model to auto-detect the file type. Is that a scan? Is that, are there some GDPR, IPA data within it to directly choose the right storage? Also auto-labeling to identify, for example, eyes, body parts. And very interesting also anomaly detection. Imagine a doctor feeding the analysis of one of his patients, and he made a mistake recording the data. And the model will automatically see that there is a deviation versus what is normal. And instead of having crappy data that could make a mistake after that, automatically is quarantined to say, this is bad data, you need to re-enter it. So machine learning is not only for customer interaction; it could be also to optimize existing process. Uh, 1 minute. It's for me the time to explain some recommendation. Think big, start small, scale fast, work backward from the use case, not the technology. When you are creating teams, do a mix between business and IT and automate. Another thing that I wanted to touch down, if you are looking at generative AI, you could create something very unique for your company. In that case, it's maybe better to think at, when generative AI, you can use what we call foundation model, and you can specify that with your own data. It's better to do that in a private and secure environment, like the one we provided with Bedrock, than to rely on plain open source only, because you may be at risk to expose some of your differentiator. If you're interested to know more, we have program for you. If you want to have a data strategy and visioning to be energized to see what is possible, what's great look like, we have a data strategy workshop. If you want to start the flywheel, identifying the use case and how to start this, we have a program named Data Driven Everything. And if you want to modernize your existing data platform, reimagine your data. Thank you.